Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, we meet a local family eager to unite the faithful by creating a new church. More on the family's plans to improve the community. And it's Labor Day, a new study showing a surprising number of Americans are satisfied with their jobs. A look at why people are feeling that way. Plus, the car show held over the weekend benefiting a good cause. How the money raised will help honor Flight Kern County. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Well, let's check out today's lineup here on the Now and an important story that could save a lot of lives. We're going to tell you about the new rules around organ donation, really in favor of people who want to donate. Also on our lineup, a look at a couple of the new tools to help you find the cheapest flight, could save you hundreds of dollars down the road. And who wouldn't want to adopt a well-trained dog? Training, that can be the hardest part with our pets. Well, there are dogs that are trained to be service dogs, even bomb-sniffing dogs. They just didn't pass their test, but they need homes as well, and we're going to tell you how to get one.
All right, looking forward to that, Chris. Well, a Kern County family is on a mission to restore hope in the community by establishing a new church. The Now Bakersfield Tori Cooper introduces us to the Haas family, who has high hopes for their church and our community. Tori?
Jessica, this local family has dealt with a number of challenges in the past, and now that they've made it through them, they wanted to bring what they've learned back to Bakersfield, and now they're hoping that by opening a new church, they can help others heal too.
It wasn't always a smooth path for Kern County native and clinical therapist Guy Haas.
I was in this free fall mode. I was struggling. I found myself suicidal. I was struggling with anxiety. I was struggling, feeling like I was hopeless because I couldn't provide for my family.
But the father of two says it wasn't until he surrendered to his faith that challenges like this became part of his past.
Then all of a sudden, God just kind of caught me in the net because I looked up and I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't manage it on my own anymore.
As things started to change for the better, Haas and his wife Ashley eventually decided to move their family back to Bakersfield to get back on their feet. The two are now hoping to guide others through similar challenges by sharing their story and opening up their own non-denominational church for everyone.
We want you, not anyone else. We don't need the fake you. We don't need the facade. You can come dressed up. You can come dressed down. You can come with a suit and tie. You can come with jeans. You can come with whatever you want. We just want you to know that you are loved.
Haas and his wife both say they dealt with mental health issues, including anxiety and depression in the past, driving both of them to address the same issues in the valley by opening up a place free from pressure centered around hope.
If every church was open on Sunday and opened their doors, there still would not be enough room to meet the needs and the level of needs of the people that are in this area. So for us, just coming here is wanting to meet people where they're at and let them know that they can believe again and dream again, no matter the situation that they find themselves in.
After searching throughout the Bakersfield community for a church location, the Haas family decided to make Centennial High School the new home for their new church.
Well, it's in the middle of a very great area. It's in a great community space, and they're just so open with everything that we have presented. And honestly, where we're at, we want to be able to help the downtown.
The new Story Church in Northwest Bakersfield will feature live music, readings from pastors, and bouncy houses for children every Sunday. It will also focus on highlighting people's stories from the community that inspired change for the better.
We want to support you. We want to, and for us, it's not just us. We want to support the city of Bakersfield.
Now, the Haas family says the new church was made possible by the support of the community and outside donors. The first church service will take place in 3 weeks at Centennial High School. For more details, head to our website, turnto23.com. For the Now Bakersfield, I'm Tori Cooper, 23 ABC.
All right, Tori, thanks. Well, this story is fitting for Labor Day. More than half of Americans say they're satisfied with their jobs. 51% told the conference board they're happy. The board surveyed 1,500 people, and people said they like their coworkers, managers, and are interested in their jobs. What people didn't like, their workload, training programs, and their performance review system. Not overly surprising, job satisfaction numbers have been rising since the recession ended. Well, the tight labor market pushing companies to think outside of the box. The Wall Street Journal says 2/3 of manufacturers plan to increase training in the next year. The U.S. unemployment rate is currently 3.9%, and nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs are unfilled. Employers say it's because of labor quality and skills shortages. The number of children diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder has significantly increased during the past 20 years. A study released Friday found more than 10% of American kids were diagnosed with ADHD between 2015 and 2016. That's up about 6% from 1997 and 1998. Minority groups saw the most pronounced increases. The rate doubled in girls, although it was still much lower than boys. The U.S. has significantly more instances of ADHD than other developed countries. Researchers say there's no evidence the condition is being overdiagnosed or misdiagnosed. Chris?
Let's get to some important stories fast here in the Now News feed as a U.S. service member killed today in Afghanistan in what military leaders are calling an apparent insider attack. This is the 6th American killed in Afghanistan this year. There was another American service member who was also hurt in today's attack. Roseanne Barr saying that she will be in Israel when the Roseanne spinoff The Connors premieres without her this fall. Now, she also says she's staying neutral about the spinoff and isn't going to bless it or curse it. Her former co-star John Goodman revealing last week that Barr's character will be killed off on that new show. Detroit public school students will start the new year tomorrow drinking water out of coolers. That's because elevated levels of copper was found in their water supply. The district will pay $200,000 over 2 months as that issue is being fixed. Well, families waiting on an organ donation may have better luck now that the Labor Department is making some clarifications. And you may be wondering, what does the Labor Department have to do with it? Well, it turns out some people who are eligible to donate, they don't actually do it because they can't afford to take time off of work. Now the Labor Department is saying that you can use medical leave to take time off. This was already included in the Family and Medical Leave Act. It just wasn't specific about people donating. Now, the department says there were questions about whether organ donation is considered a serious health condition. They say yes. Donors usually need to stay in the hospital overnight after surgery. Now, under the government's guidelines, you can take up to 12 weeks off from work, but really that's not necessary. Johns Hopkins Medicine says recovery time lasts about 4 to 6 weeks. And we talked to one woman who says she was back at work in no time.
I was back to work 2 weeks after my surgery. I was able to start working at home. I worked at home for a week and back at work.
And if you're thinking about donating, your employer may request medical certification from your doctor. That'll state just how serious the procedure is. All right, next in our lineup, believe it or not, it's already time to start thinking about booking trips for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for the holidays. We're going to show you a couple of new tools that will help you find the cheapest flights. You're watching The Now. Well, let's update the Now News feed. A Texas doctor is in trouble for saying that his female physicians are paid less because they don't work as hard. Gary Tigas now apologizing for those comments. They were in a medical journal. He said they were taken out of context and he didn't know they would become public. The Incredibles 2 making movie history. It's now the first animated film to cross $600 million in domestic box office sales. And this year really could be the future of farming. A Dutch company developing a floating dairy farm. Kind of looks like a big floating dock or a barge. It is expected to open soon. Cows there will produce milk. Researchers say farmland is limited, so it's time to start thinking about using the ocean. Well, now's the time to start planning for holiday travel. Prices will start to rise next month on flights and on hotels. And Annie Taylor walking us through some upgrades that Google has made in hopes of helping you save money.
Google has tons of data on where people will probably be traveling for the rest of the year, and now the rest of us, we can all see it. First off, Google now has a flight price trends tool, so it shows you the most popular flights taken during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's of last year. And a line graph shows you when the prices for tickets on those flights went up and down. So even if you aren't flying in or out of those cities, it's still a good indicator of when prices could change. And when you get to the step of actually booking the flight, you'll want to check it on your phone. Google Flights will tell you if the price of the ticket you're buying is low, typical, or high. And one more, if you're a little adventurous, Google's Explore map will show you dates and locations of places all over the world that have the best rates on flights and hotels until the end of the year. So if you have any unused vacation time, or maybe you want to take a trip instead of your traditional holiday, you can find some pretty good deals.
All right, Annie, thank you. And one of the hardest parts of owning a small business is just getting it started. But now there's a class that'll help. Bank of America and Cornell University are offering free entrepreneurship classes to women. One professor with the program telling Forbes they're doing this because gender plays a big role when it comes to taking charge of businesses. Studies show that women are likely to be questioned more harshly when they're applying for business loans. It actually turns out, though, that women outperform their male counterparts in terms of revenue. So what do these courses involve? There are a total of 6 classes that teach women about business, planning, leadership, the law, negotiating. Courses are for women who are just getting started or revamping their business. Students can take the classes at their own pace as long as the classes are completed by March, and they get a certificate at the end. Registration begins Wednesday on Cornell's website, and the best part about all of it is it's free.
Well, a car show over the weekend brought out dozens of hot rods to help our local veterans. The Hot Rods Burgers and Beers car show was held at 1933 yesterday. Organizers say registration, t-shirt sales, and proceeds will be going to the Honor Flight of Kern County. Honor Flight, of course, allows veterans to visit memorials built in their honor in the nation's capital. Veterans say the trip is a memorable one.
People are recognizing the veterans. And this honors flight is, you land at an airport, you get off, all go through, and everybody just stops and saying thank you for your service, and it just means a lot to them.
I absolutely agree. It most likely does. And check out all of those nice cars. They had cars from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and all the way up through the 70s at yesterday's event. Well, some of our best local cowboys and cowgirls getting on the saddle to show off their skills yesterday. Rancho Rio Equestrian Center hosted a local qualifier for the state finals rodeo next month. Cowboys and cowgirls displayed their horse and roping skills. They were tasked with ranch sorting, which means they had to wrangle some cows and just have some fun. The winner not only got to qualify for next month's state finals, but earned a cash prize, which that's always a bonus, right? All right, well, we're going to bring in 23 ABC's Allison Gargaro because we've been talking about the weather. It's been warming up for this Labor Day weekend.
It really has. Today we had a high of 98 degrees for your Labor Day. That is well above sea. You can expect temperatures to be increasing a little bit each day for the rest of the work week. We're up 1 degree from us here in Bakersfield and 2 degrees in into Hatchapee, but you can see that that will slowly be increasing as we head into the rest of the week as well. But we did have a westerly breeze make its way into the county. Just 7-mile-per-hour winds for us here in Bakersfield, 15 up in Lake Isabella, but unfortunately that is dry air. So we're just looking at 27% humidity for us here in Bakersfield right now, 21 in Lake Isabella and 20 in Mojave. And you can expect these dry September conditions to continue for the rest of the work week. So unfortunately that does mean worsening air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups again tomorrow with an AQI of 112. So that's just up a few points from what we were feeling today. And tomorrow we're starting out in the 70s and jumping up to the upper 90s. Looks like we could be right on the border of 99 to 100 degrees. And that will be the case as well as on Wednesday. So 99 Tuesday and Wednesday, down to 98 on Thursday. And again, right near 100 degrees by Friday, but a fresh breeze making its way into the county on Saturday and Sunday. That's going to drop temperatures down to 96. So getting just a little bit closer to those seasonal temperatures. Tori?
Well, hopefully we get that breeze sooner than later, because tomorrow on the Now Bakersfield, on a new episode of Tori's Trails, we're taking an adventure down the Kern River, but this time we're taking you off trail to show you the lengths conservationists are going to in order to keep the environment safe, clean, and fun for you. Again, that's tomorrow on the Now Bakersfield.
Let's get to the Now Newsfeed, and tomorrow the nomination hearing begins for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Republicans hoping that he'll be on the bench when the Supreme Court's new session starts October 1st. Well, South Carolina, a woman there admitting to killing her husband, authorities saying she put eye drops in his drinking water. In his autopsy, they found high levels of a chemical that is found in over-the-counter eye drops. She apparently put it in his water for several days. Vice President Joe Biden marching with thousands in Pittsburgh today. He was the guest of honor at the city's Labor Day parade. It's one of the largest Labor Day parades across the country. Well, making money mistakes, it's a lot more common than you think. And the Now's Annie Taylor sitting down with a financial expert to find out the do's and the don'ts that we all need to fix if we want financial freedom.
If you want financial freedom, the best thing that you can do is create goals for yourself, because those simple habits you do now will affect your future. But some of us have a hard time creating a budget or even sticking to a budget.
If managing a budget is difficult, credit cards shouldn't even be a part of the picture.
Financial expert Jonathan Duong says having a credit card is a great way to build credit, But if you can't pay the bill, it's actually the worst thing for your finances. Oftentimes, Jonathan says the most common money mistake is the one we're not doing.
By creating a basic emergency fund, what you're ultimately doing is being your own little bank to make sure that there's a loan available to you in the event of an emergency, and that's going to save you a lot of money in interest.
When it comes to savings, Bankrate.com found 65% of Americans save little or nothing at all. Also, not having insurance is a big money mistake. Some forego insurance in hopes to save money, but your insurance is your safety net. Financial experts say it's there to protect you from bankruptcy and from future problems. If your ultimate goal is to have financial freedom, Jonathan says you have to get your priorities straight. Make sure you are able to afford basic living expenses, pay off your debt, build an emergency fund, and contribute towards retirement.
And then whatever's left over, go have a ball, have fun, spend on whatever you want to. I'm not one to critique what people spend their money on, so long as they're first reaching those initial goals.
For the now, I'm Annie Taylor.
Annie, thank you. And this really is the surprise that no one likes to get when you check the mail and you get a bill for something that you thought was covered by your health insurance. And it happens more often than you might think. There's a new survey saying that it happens to more than half of Americans. Physician charges and lab tests are most likely to catch people off guard. Some of those out-of-pocket charges are avoidable, like for out-of-network doctors. Well, a new barbecue restaurant in Mexico City is aiming to teach a lesson on tolerance. It's hiring Mexicans who have been deported from the United States. The restaurant owner says he's seen an increase in those who have been deported and are now looking for work in Mexico. 7 deportees are part of his staff, and he says they're some of his best workers.
Sometimes I speak to them in English and they kind of have nostalgia for, because they miss the United States and they miss their lives and they miss their family that still lives in the United States. So if we have a sanctuary, they appreciate that and then they work hard.
Yeah, some of the workers say one of the hardest parts of returning to Mexico is finding work. All right, let's get back to our lineup here. And who wouldn't want to adopt a well-trained dog? And there are dogs that have been trained to be service dogs, maybe a bomb-sniffing dog, but just didn't pass their tests, but they still are looking for a home. They could be a good dog for you. How you can get one, that's next here on The Now. All right, let's get to the Now News feed. And we know that internet security is a top priority for the midterms, but Google refusing to send its top executives to appear before Congress. Facebook, Twitter are doing it. Remember, Google denying President Trump's claim their search results are rigged against him. A Chinese billionaire back in China after being arrested in the U.S. Richard Liu was arrested on suspicion of criminal sexual misconduct in Minneapolis, but details of that arrest have not been released. Well, no cell phones for school children in France as they go back to school today. The government banning phone use in all schools. The law lets teachers take the phones from students for the day if a student's not following the rules. Well, people spend a lot of money trying to teach their dog, and you may not have to because there are dogs available for adoption right now that have been trained by the very best. Dogs like Derby, Bear, and Ducky. You can take a look at these cute dogs on your screen. They all started training through Freedom Service Dogs of America. Now, the group pulls dogs from shelters and trains them to be a service animal, but not all of them make the cut. They do get dropped for various reasons, but the group then puts them up for adoption instead of sending them back to the shelter. Service Dogs Incorporated, a similar organization, and they too rescue abandoned dogs. And if a dog doesn't end up passing the tests, they end up finding them new homes. And there are also some canines that have finished their military or police service. Mission Canine Rescue is a nonprofit working to help them find a retirement home. Now, even the TSA lets people adopt dogs that don't pass their training. They also have a big waiting list for that right now. It is worth checking with your local rescue groups. Many pull shelter dogs and put them through training as well. Well, tomorrow on the Now, our investigative team is checking out just how easy it is to register your dog as a service animal. See the process they went through and the debate about whether or not it's too easy for anyone to get your pet classified as a service animal. That story tomorrow, only here on the Now.
And coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11, a community demanding action and change. We're going to have more on the walk held in Oildale tonight, where people gathered to brainstorm ideas and figure out ways to make Oildale safer for everyone. Again, we're going to have that story and much more coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. In the meantime, if you're heading out to, hang out outside, you're going to notice it's kind of warm.
Yeah, it warmed up today. 98 degrees as a high for us here in Bakersfield, but due to those clear skies, temperatures are cooling down quickly. Already down to 93 degrees here in Bakersfield. We're looking at 88 up in Lake Isabella and still in those 90s in our desert cities. But I think Pine Mountain Club is the place to be. 60 degrees right now with a little breeze. Really not feeling too bad out there, but unfortunately as temperatures increase, that means that so does the number on our air quality index, so we will still be unhealthy for sensitive groups tomorrow, but just a few points higher with an AQI of 112. Now as we head into the start of your work week, I guess for everyone that had today off, Tuesday, it's going to be 99 degrees, hazy conditions like we saw with that bad air quality. Again, temperatures warming though, 99 degrees on Wednesday. That is the day that it does look like we could be reaching potentially 100 degrees, but hopefully we're going to be staying right below that, and then still in the upper 90s through the rest of the work week, but temperatures cooling down to 96 degrees as we head into the beginning of next week.
All right, holding out hope that we don't hit triple digits. That's going to do it for us on the Now Bakersfield. We'll see you back here tonight for 23 ABC News at 11.